doesn't life always feel better after Baltimore Ravens? When y'all put in the comment section, how are you feeling after the Baltimore Ravens defeated the Cleveland Browns 41-17 in a statement game, which we all knew that they needed to make after whatever you want to call that last week. This was a nice victory for the team. And I'm here to share my post-game thoughts on this game that we all watched, we all loved. So let's get straight into it. Baltimore Ravens offense. They started off real slow in this one. They were certainly taking their time. Derrick Henry, Browns made it a team effort. They said, Derrick Henry, you are not about to go off on us today at all. Nope, not happening. Derrick Henry, his final numbers from the game, 11 carries for 23 yards. Now, had you told us going into this game, hey, Derrick Henry's stats is going to be 11 carries for 23 yards, we would have looked at you like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be a good one. But you see, that's what's special about this Baltimore Ravens team. Even with the frustrating game last week, this is still a very, very special team because something that we talked about last year, something that we talked about the year before last, and this has been the Todd Monken impact. They can get it so many different ways. Derrick Henry ain't have nothing today. He even fumbled too. But the Baltimore Ravens still scored 41 points, which is crazy. The Baltimore Ravens do not have Pat Ricard. They still scored 41 points, which is crazy. The Baltimore Ravens do not have Isaiah Likely. They still scored 41 points, which is crazy. Mark Andrews, these first two games has been a non-factor. They still scored 41 points, which is crazy. Lamar Jackson in this game. So many people noticed during our stream. They said, man, Lamar Jackson, he just looks off. It looks like something is up with Lamar Jackson. Then a lot of people mentioned how he had the IV in his arm, even though he said he gets that every game. Some people said he looked kind of, not lethargic, but they said he looked uninterested in the game. And he just wasn't moving like the Lamar Jackson that we know. And he did look like maybe he was dealing with something. Maybe he was a little still beat up from that last game. Who knows? Because that hit that he took last week, ooh, yeah, that was tough. But Lamar Jackson in this game, he didn't even look his best. This was certainly not his best game, and this man still went out and threw 4 touchdowns. He's really the best in the world, and we continue to see that every single week. He continues to make play after play after play. This was probably the quietest 4-touchdown pass game from Lamar Jackson ever. The quietest one. And it's crazy because you would think, oh, a quarterback threw 4 touchdowns. That's a big deal, and it is. But see, with Lamar Jackson, when he goes out there and throw 4 touchdowns, we get so used to that it's almost second nature. But our standards for Lamar Jackson are so high that, again, this was a down game for him, which is crazy to think about. But it was a nice game because earlier he started off, and again, things were a little bit shaky from jump. For Lamar, from the whole offense. He had missed a couple of deep passes, 2 of them intended for Zay Flowers, 1 kind of intermediate pass for Rashad Bateman. Well, Lamar put it a little too high, but at the same time, Bateman did get both hands on it, so that was on Lamar and Bateman, probably a little more on Bateman than Lamar, but still, it was an incomplete pass. That's the one where Bateman tried to go up and get it, but he tipped it, it went up in the air, but then he tried to catch it again and still dropped it. It was like, whew, that was rough. But besides that, Lamar Jackson, he was on the money. He was on point. And there were some times when his receivers let him down. Like there was that one drive where the Baltimore Ravens, he threw it up to DeAndre Hopkins. We all thought it was a touchdown. I think it should have been a touchdown, but the ref said it wasn't a touchdown. So he was at the 1-yard line. And Lamar Jackson threw to Zaire Mitchell. It was a tough catch. He dropped it. He threw, and it was a touchdown. Perfect throw. But Zaire only had one hand that he could do it. He could catch it with because the defender was on his other arm. He dropped it. Then Lamar Jackson threw another touchdown pass to Mark Andrews. But then Mark Andrews got it punched out. So that ended up being an incompletion. So it was tough to watch him. And then on the following play, I think Lamar Jackson took a sack. And there was a couple times when we saw Lamar Jackson, he was looking downfield, looking for a receiver to get open, looking for somebody to throw to, didn't see it, tried to buy himself some more time. Still, he didn't see anybody, and he just held on to the ball, and when the Browns defenders got to him, he didn't try to force anything. He said, you know what? I'm going to take a sack, and I'll just live to play another down. And that, as frustrating as it can be, because it can be very frustrating because with a sack, it's a negative play. You lose yards, but I think Lamar Jackson's thinking was, you know what? I'd rather lose the yards than lose the ball. I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to do anything crazy, and we'll live to play another down. And that's big from Lamar Jackson. Obviously, again, you don't want to be taking sacks regardless, but I just thought that was interesting from him, watching him do that. But for the touchdown passes, DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, his was tricky because DeAndre Hopkins, he probably should have had 2 touchdowns in this game. But see, with that first DeAndre Hopkins pass, Lamar Jackson had pressure in his face. What's new? Ran around, bought some time, threw it up to DeAndre Hopkins, gave him an opportunity, and DeAndre Hopkins came down with it. Beautiful catch, beautiful throw, beautiful play. Thought it was a touchdown. It wasn't. So Ravens were at the 1-yard line. See, this is where we'll talk about the offense and we'll talk about the offensive coordinator all in one. Todd Monken. Wasn't a good series at all. Now, look, Lamar Jackson did I say on that drive, Lamar Jackson threw 3 touchdowns, but none of them counted. Because again, one was to DeAndre Hopkins, but they said it was short. One was to Zaire Mitchell, but he dropped it, and then one was to Mark Andrews, and we know what happened with that. But in that scenario, you have Derrick Henry. You have number 22. You're on the 1-yard line. You're on the goal line. You have Derrick Henry. Come on now, man. Why? What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we trying to get cute? Why are we trying to get fancy? I thought we left that stuff back with Giro years ago. That was just a terrible, just set of play calls, in my opinion. Now, again, Lamar did everything on his part. He did it right. Again, he threw the touchdown passes, but they got dropped. But you should have just handed off to Derrick Henry. And I know this is something that the Baltimore Ravens do, which I can't appreciate. Because they feel like if somebody gets robbed of certain statistics during a game or a big play during a game, like if they get robbed of a touchdown during a game, then they always try to get that person that touchdown back. They've done it a million times before, and it seemed like they were doing it again on this one. Because they were like, look, that Lamar threw a touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins. That should have been a touchdown. You know what? We're going to give Lamar his passing touchdown. So instead of just handing it off to Derrick Henry, he did the play action, he threw it, incomplete, and of course, you know what happened. But it was like, I don't think that was the time or the place, in my opinion. I think they should have just ran it with Derrick Henry. Yeah, the Browns were stopping Derrick Henry all game, but from the goal line, really, and you ain't giving him not one single chance, not one single opportunity. So I'm like, man, like, what's that about? But anyway, that's cool because everything ended up working out in the long run. But to DeAndre Hopkins, man, he just keeps on proving like he still got it. DeAndre Hopkins is the ultimate luxury piece for these Baltimore Ravens. He's somebody who they did not need, but he's just somebody that provides you with that, again, that luxury. It's like when you're flying on an airplane. You don't need to buy first-class seats. You could ride and coach and be just fine. You're straight. But see, sometimes you might want to splurge a little extra, get something that could make you feel even more comfortable, and they upgraded to first class with DeAndre Hopkins. So it's been nice to see him. I guess pretty much everything he catches is a touchdown for the Baltimore Ravens. And with Tez Walker, speaking of DeAndre Hopkins, Tez Walker, everything that he catches is literally a touchdown. First 3 catches of his career, all touchdowns. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Lamar Jackson found him in the back of the end zone on that first touchdown, and then on Tez Walker's second touchdown, he ran sort of like a wheel route, but Lamar hit him in stride. Perfect. And then shout out to Tylan Wallace, because Lamar Jackson faked it to Derrick Henry. He kept it, rolled out to his right. Tylan Wallace ran that route to the back of the end zone, to the right side of the end zone. Lamar Jackson hit him, touchdown. It was a thing of beauty. It really was. I love seeing it. And they said that today, ever since 2019, today was the first time since 2019 that Lamar Jackson threw 4 touchdown passes, all to wide receivers. Because we know normally he gets the tight ends involved, he'll get the fullbacks involved, he'll get the running backs involved. Not today. Today was all the receivers. And it was just a beautiful thing to watch for the Baltimore Ravens. It's so nice to have a legitimate passing offense. And that's something that we wanted for years, and we've had it for the past couple of years. But previous years, it has been so limited, but now it's been growing so much. So it just makes us proud to be Ravens fans watching this offense. The offensive line. Run blocking in this game, yeah, no. Oh, no. Wasn't happening. Just, it was rough. And again, give the Browns credit because their defense is amazing. Their defense is incredible. It really is, especially their defensive line. They were all over Lamar Jackson. They were all over Derrick Henry. They weren't letting us run. Lamar Jackson, he got pressured a lot, but they real deal. So shout out to them. So yeah, run blocking, offensive line, pass blocking was up and down. But I feel like at this point that's normal. And I asked our chat during the live stream, like, what would you do what do you think is a realistic option for the Baltimore Ravens to fix this offensive line, to help this offensive line? And you could put it in the comment section of this video because I would love to hear what you got to say, what your suggestion would be. A realistic suggestion, of course, because I'm not sure. Obviously, the play calling could help it out. You could do some more screens and whatnot. I thought the Baltimore Ravens could have done a better job of doing some more screens early on in the game. But, it is what it is. But again, this Ravens offense, for them to score 34 points is, especially against this Browns defense, it was great, man. It really was. It was great to see that. And I say 34 points because, the defense, they scored 7 on their side, which we're getting ready to talk about right now. But before we get to the defense, let's talk about Heart of the City really taking care of y'all. Since the Baltimore Ravens scored 41 points, Heart of the City was already doing a big sale on all of their t-shirts being $15, all of their hoodies being $30. But in addition to that being at a discount rate already, you can get an even bigger deal, or should I say steal, because Heart of the City said, hey, since them Ravens put up points, we're going to put something up for Team Keep It Clean. And you can get 40% off your entire order. 40% off a $15 shirt, 40% off a $30 hoodie when you use code Ingraven40. They taking care of y'all. They love y'all. Y'all better make sure y'all hit them up. Get your Ravens 2025 Vengeance season, your t-shirt, your hoodies. Get it all at Heart of the City. The link is down below in the description. Don't miss out. Defense. Oh, boy. Look, going into this game, I expected the defense to not allow the Browns to score more than 13 points. They got 17, so I was close. But the defense, they were doing their thing. And when the Browns got their last touchdown, a bunch of the starters, they were out anyway. But it's cool. The defense in this game going against Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco could be sneaky, man, because he would make some sneaky good plays. He would make some rough plays, too. But I love how the defense, they stayed on top of things. And it was just amazing to see. Let's start off with Roquan Smith, because this, in my opinion, and we said this during our live stream, we said this during the game, and we say it after the game too, this was Roquan Smith's best game as a Raven in years, especially since Patrick Queen has been gone. Roquan Smith, this was his best. This might have been his best game ever as a Baltimore Raven, because he was flying around. He looked a lot quicker. He looked a lot more decisive. He was just making play after play after play and tackle after tackle after tackle, hit after hit after hit. And then, of course, he got the scoop and score. Roquan Smith looks so much better than he did just a week ago. It seems like that was a completely different season last week for Roquan Smith. I don't know what he did this week. I don't know what he was doing in practice, what routines he was doing, if he was eating something different, if they need to have a defensive team dinner every week. But that's the Roquan Smith that we wanted to see. We talked about how last week the question got asked, when the last time Roquan Smith made a game-changing play? It's nice to have finally got that answer today. It was so nice to see Roquan Smith just moving around the way that he was, and he just, it looked amazing, man. It really, really did. So, Roquan, whatever it was that you did this week, please keep it up. Now, the defense was not playing back nearly as much as they were last week. They weren't playing all backed off the corners nearly as much as they were last week. Shout out to Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins, he had a pretty good game overall. Of course, he got that interception on Joe Flacco, and at the end of it, I guess he was just winded. He was exhausted because he couldn't make it a pick six. I really thought, like, Nate Wiggins, like, you run, what, a 4.2? Oh, that's pick six for sure. You taking that to the crib, but he ended up getting a little tired. Probably because that defense was out there so long today. They was out there a lot. There was some long drives by the Browns offense, but shout out to Nate Wiggins, man. I was very, very happy for him getting that interception. Chidobe Awuzie, he gave up a couple catches to Jerry Jeudy, but he had a solid game. TJ Tampa, he was out there because, again, the Ravens didn't have Jair Alexander. Today he was a healthy scratch. But again, what we were talking about earlier with the offense, how they ain't even got everybody and they still put up 41 points. This defense, we ain't even got everybody, and they still were holding it down. And I get some people like, oh, well, it's just the Browns offense, and the Browns offense ain't nothing serious. But this Baltimore Ravens defense, we've seen teams be nothing serious before and still run it up on us. So I am going to appreciate every single second that the Baltimore Ravens does an excellent job. Now, what I will say too, while the defense overall, they did an excellent job. They did give up a play here and there. Oh, the Marlon Humphrey drop. I didn't even realize he left the game early too. I didn't even know. I got to see what the status of it is on his injury. But that drop by Marlon Humphrey on the 4th down when you could have not necessarily closed out the game, but pretty much closed out the game. And it's like, why does this stuff keep happening to the Ravens? Because Marlon Humphrey not only dropped the pick, but the ball goes flying up in the air, and then their receiver catches it for a touchdown. I'm like, really? 2 weeks in a row? 2 weeks in a row, man. Why does this stuff got to keep happening to us? But then Marlon Humphrey, he gave up a big play on 3rd and long right before halftime too. And I was just like, hey, what's happening with Marlon Humphrey? I didn't get it. But overall, the defense, the secondary, they had a good game today. It was nice seeing Kyle Hamilton, Super Duper Kyle, fly everywhere around the field, continuing to make those $100 million plays. We love our guy, Super Duper Kyle, and we know y'all do too. Shout out to him. But I will say, while most of the defense was good, the pass rush in this game, it was and I was like, it just left a lot more to be desired. They had some good moments here and there, but overall, I'm like, whoa, hold up, this Joe Flacco we going up against? Like, hello, what are we doing? What's going on? So that was a little disappointing, and that's just my opinion. I just felt that like the pass rush wasn't all there today, because I just expected them to get at least 5 sacks, at least 2 interceptions. But again, most important thing was holding the Browns down, scoring-wise. So that was good. But yeah, good job overall by the defense. They kept Joe Flacco in check. I wish they would have did the same a little more with Dylan Gabriel, even though it wasn't starters, but still. Wish they would have had that preseason defense on Dylan Gabriel to where it's a bunch of backups, but they still holding it down. But overall, good stuff defense. Special teams in this one. Tyler Loop made all of his field goals, made all of his point after touchdowns. So shout out to that boy Loop. He learned from last week. He said, hey, I ain't missing no point after touchdown because that ended up biting us in the butt against the Bills, but not against the Browns. LaJohntay Wester. That boy. He gonna get at least 2 this season. At least 2. Because, boy, he was close to breaking that one. But number 5 on the Browns made a game-saving, well, not a game-saving, but a play-saving tackle. Because, obviously, if he wouldn't have made that tackle, it's been the same results for the game. But number 5 for the Browns, he saved the day with that one. He really did. Well, for them. Because LaJohntay Wester was out of there, man. He really was. That boy, love him back there, man. Love him back there as our punt returner. So that's going to be nice to see him moving forward. It's exciting. Jordan Stout. Ed Jordan. He had some really good punts in this game. There was one that wasn't so good, but it was when the Ravens were super backed up by their own end zone. But other than that, he had some really good punts in this game. It looks like Jordan Stout has been a lot better than he has been over the past couple of years. I know it's only been 2 games so far, but things have been going better to this point of the season. Now, coaching. Harbaugh, Monken, Zach Orr. We talked about Todd Monken earlier. Just that goal line. That drive was just, that was not good at all. But overall, pretty good game. Again, wish we would have got the screens more involved, especially early, just to slow down that pass rush, slow down that defensive line, and take advantage of how aggressive they were. But, I mean, it is what it is. Zach Orr in this game, we got some pressure, but I just felt like the pass rush could have been a lot better, but the corners, they did play a lot better in my opinion. Again, the competition was lower because remember what we looked at the other day. The competition was not the same as it was last week, but still, they can only play who's on their schedule. So I don't want to take anything from them. With John Harbaugh in this game, there was right before halftime because a lot of people were upset because the Ravens had like a 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. And it was right before halftime. A lot of Ravens fans wanted us to go for it. They're like, go for it, go for it, go for it. And I was saying, I don't think they're going to go for it. And I don't even think they need to because their defense has been playing good. Because to that point, the score was 10-0, and the defense had been holding it down. Last week, when John Harbaugh was like, no, I'm going to put the game in the hands of our defense. I trust our defense. That defense last week had given up 38 points. So, no, you shouldn't not have trusted them last week. But this week, the defense had given up 0 points, so you had plenty of reason to trust them. And he did. I think the Browns ended up getting a field goal, but that was a good time to punt, because I guarantee you, had John Harbaugh and them not punted and they didn't get it, so many people would be calling for his head again. It's like, oh, get rid of John Harbaugh, fire John Harbaugh. And I get it, but still, he made the right decision. I always think it's very, very important. If you're going to call somebody out when they do wrong, they're going to call somebody out when they make mistakes, then make sure you acknowledge them when they get it right as well. And I thought that was a very, very good decision from John Harbaugh. So in this game, he did waste a timeout. I'm not sure what it was for. I'm not sure what, because it was in the second half. We had 3 timeouts, and he called one really early. I think it was on a 3rd down, and I was like, what is the timeout for? Like, what was that about? And I don't know, but it didn't end up costing the Baltimore Ravens. They still won this game decisively, handedly, and they took care of business against a Cleveland Browns team that knows them and that is deceptively dangerous, but not dangerous enough today.